Some truly promising young basketball players have emerged. Even though he's only 23 years old, Portland Trail Blazers professional basketball player Anfernee has been all over the news recently. The young man modeled his style of play after a certain basketball player in the same team. We're gonna dive right in and talk about it in this video. First up, Anfernee says he modeled his game after Damian Lillard. Knowing that Anfernee is only 23 years old tells us that he has been a lifelong NBA fan. It also means that he'd especially been watching Damian Lillard when he started to make a name for himself in the NBA, and we're sure that watching a player as amazing as Damian play at his peak would have been a big help for Anfernee with his game. Damian has had 42 games where he'd scored over 40 points all by himself. That's a very impressive statistic.
And Anfernee's got to continue pursuit. They do their job. Now Rocco can step in for the help. Oh, hold on. He turned that man off.
No wonder Anfernee learned so much from Damian by watching him play. And to top it all off, he's been lucky enough to learn from Damian Lillard directly. Since way back in 2018 until today, Anfernee has been in the Portland Trail Blazers, the same team as his now mentor Damian Lillard. Lucky him. Anfernee, who Damian's great play has inspired, has been quoted on Instagram by Swish Cultures, who wrote, "Watching him play has helped me a lot with my own game." Anfernee said he tries to copy the moves he sees Damian using. Reasoning along these lines, he says that Damian's movements are effective at a high level of competitive basketball play. Makes sense to us.
Simons on the attack. Oh, Simons! Oh, the slam dunk champion.
Let's talk a little bit about what Draymond Green has to say about Anfernee Simons. Draymond Green is a professional basketball player playing for the Golden State Warriors in the NBA. A few months back, just this year, Draymond attended Rico Hines basketball camp, where he was seen giving advice to younger players. His key piece of guidance was that every NBA player should figure out how they fit into the team's overall strategy. Draymond noted that it's difficult to even attempt to emulate the game's all-time greats, let alone do so successfully, but he emphasized, effort always yields fruitful outcomes. Draymond said that's exactly what's been happening with Anfernee Simons. He's been learning from Damian Lillard and putting in a lot of hard work. Anfernee isn't too far behind Damian when it comes to stats for this season.
Watch how shifty this is. Good screen by Cody. It just switches him up. Opens him up.
And he has the potential to eventually grow to the same level of play as Damian himself. The Portland Trail Blazers may not have CJ McCollum anymore, who was a longtime backcourt mate of Damian, but that's alright since Anfernee has been pulling his weight and more on the basketball court. He's been doing very well in assisting and aiding Damian in games day in and day out. Damian even says that he trusts Anfernee on the court. You know, whatever you're doing is working well, especially when you have people like Damian Lillard and Draymond Green showing that they acknowledge you as a good basketball player with loads of potential. Up next, Damian Lillard trusts Anfernee. Anfernee has been known for his famous hook shot, which would end up helping the Portland Trail Blazers barely win a tight game.
Dame off to Simons. Oh, between the wickets into the paint and a soft running right-hand hook.
The game ended 113 to 111 in favor of the Trail Blazers. Talk about a close game. This kind of last-second game-winning shot is something Damian Lillard is more known for generally. Damian had the ball in the ending moments of the game, and he's usually the first choice to take the shot in moments like this. But this time, he chose to pass it to Anfernee, who took a shot and scored, winning the Trail Blazers the game. As good of a player as Damian is, age has finally started to catch up to him a little, and he's been looking to share some of the responsibility with someone. Even though Anfernee has been having a rough game, Damian still passed the ball to him because he had a lot of faith in the young talent. Well worth the effort if we do say so ourselves. Damian acknowledges that Anfernee will notice the passes he gives him, and he'll see that Damian really does trust him in big moments. Hopefully that should help him build even more confidence as a basketball player. Next up,
take a look at this. First the joystick, up and down, twirls, still gets it to go. There was a...
Anfernee Simons is turning heads all over. Dave Favale, an NBA analyst from the Bleacher Report, talks about how Anfernee Simons has been surpassing all expectations. Dave gave a rating to the best player that is under the age of 25 from every team in the NBA. He gave Anfernee a score of 23 and a B+ overall for how well he's been contributing to his team as the guard for the Portland Trail Blazers. Based on the criteria set by the NBA analysis, a grade of B means that the player in question surpasses expectations, which is exactly what he said about the 23-year-old talent, Anfernee. Dave talked about how Anfernee is defending harder than he ever has and playing hard regularly. And even though the young player's potential assists aren't as high as compared to last season, Anfernee has been put in a more important position. His teammates trust him to pass the ball to them in an open space faster than ever, which would lead to more potential points for them. And it shows with the Trailblazers' position at the top. Anfernee has been a big impact for them and has been helping them to do even better than last season.
Anfernee to the left, right. back to the right between the legs.
Dave also talks about how Anfernee has been improving his offensive game and how that helps him do more for the team, even when Damian Lillard isn't on court with them. Anfernee has been scoring 22.3 points on average per game this season, and Dave notes that his presence really helps boost the team and their style of play. Let's look at what Anfernee's career has been like so far. Let's start with his high school days first. Anfernee used to play for Edgewater High School basketball team, where he has an average of 17.8 points and 4.6 assists a game. Now that's an impressive record. He transferred to Montverde Academy in his junior year. By the time he graduated from Edgewater High School, Anfernee had a very impressive average of 23.8 points a game. In 2017, in the summer, Anfernee even played for the United States Under-19 men's national basketball team. He was given 5 stars and rated as the 7th best player that year by 247sports.com.
Simons brushes off that contact from Diallo and then fires a pill and knocks down a...
The next year, he entered the 2018 NBA draft, where he was later invited to the NBA the same year. That must have been so exciting for him. Even ESPN ranked him as the 19th best prospect for the draft. We think he should have been ranked a little higher, though, looking at his performances for the Portland Trail Blazers in the NBA. Finally, let's talk about his professional career in the NBA. Anfernee was the 3rd high school player that was drafted into the NBA since way back in 2015. Portland Trail Blazers announced in early July 2018 that they signed him up into the club, and the next year, he was in the starting lineup for the first time against the Sacramento Kings. While Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum rested for the final game of the regular season, Anfernee became the Trailblazers' first rookie to score over 30 points in a game after Damian. He scored 37 points and had 9 assists. Incredible for a player as young as him.
Do it on the catch and shoot or put it on the floor, get to a different shot. There goes one of those setups from Anfernee.
In 2021, during the slam dunk contest at halftime of the NBA All-Star Game, Anfernee attempted to kiss the rim. He failed to do so, but still completed the dunk. In a 3-2 decision by the judges, he was named 2021 Slam Dunk Champion in his early 20s. Earlier this year in January, Anfernee scored an insane 43 points in a game against the Atlanta Hawks, leading the Trailblazers to a victory by 5 points. This was the most points in a game he'd scored at that point, and we have to say, that's a lot of points for one young guy. He dedicated that game to his grandfather, who had unfortunately passed away of cancer just the night before. May he rest in peace. But to think Anfernee would go on to score 43 points the day right after is something we think no one would have imagined. There's been no doubt that this young rookie has heaps of potential.
As they're preparing for Dame to use screens that will take him toward the top of the key, he turns it down.
And has been putting in the work in training sessions. Watching great players like Damian Lillard from a young age and being on the same team as him while being mentored by him has helped him improve his game immensely. All that adds up to him turning heads all around with his stunning gameplay. If it keeps going this way, Anfernee might just end up becoming the successor for Damian, the way he's been improving and playing. That's a wrap for this video. How good of a player do you think Anfernee will become in the next few years? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.